Hello. Hi. Welcome, champions. My name is Dylan, and I'm coming to you live from the heavily air-conditioned streaming closet at Codename Entertainment Studio in beautiful Victoria, BC, Canada. I have extra layers on because the AC in here is extra high, which is obviously what is best for the four other people that are taking up our office because it's actually quite toasty out. Yay! Before we begin, shout outs to Jay, helping to co-produce and moderate this stream along with me, as well as to, you fine folks who joined early. I saw your name sitting in chat. Welcome. I think Crazy Matt Captain was the first one to say anything in the last hour, followed by Owen, Michael USA, Jadisero, Garawar. So welcome all of you. I do have a guest today. The wonderful, amazing, multi-talented B. Dave Walters will be joining me at 2 o'clock, which is an hour from now, if you are not in the Pacific time zone. So, that'll be interesting because as much as I love our tech setup, doing things live rather than preparing and refining them before you go live is always a little bit more interesting. So we'll see how it looks. I just realized something that I didn't realize until just now, and that is that I deleted my scene. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my empty guest view so you can actually see the game, because one of the scenes is missing in my XSplit. And I just noticed now when I went to switch to it. I could switch to only the game, and I'll just go ahead and close this little thing here. Or I can switch to the one where I would presumably be talking to B-Dave. But the one in between where it's just me in the game is not there. So, this looks glitchy. So that's just wonderful. But what I can do is I can turn that part off for now. Smart Puffin, hey, welcome back. Long time no talk indeed. Why would I do that? Why would I delete the scene? Well, it really depends on what's going on. But as part of last week's setup, where I was talking to Chris, following the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden announcement stream and all of that stuff, I set up a stream just to have that, and so I removed clutter for sake of efficiency. And over the last hour, as I've been setting up this stream, I forgot that I had deleted the other scene. So, it feels unfair to have B-Dave's name there and stuff too, so I can turn that off while I'm waiting. And then when he eventually connects, I just turn it all back on again, and I cross my fingers, and then it works perfectly, because that's how things always go. Is that Dr. Doom? No, it is most certainly not Dr. Doom. That is a coming soon Siren Knight Warden skin. If you've ever wondered what Warden looked like back when they were still able to properly do their job as the jailer of a prison, before the Mourning, before corruption, there they are. And I believe this one was done almost entirely by Adam, and he did a killer job. Because Warforged are a little more bulky, heavily armored, and everything when they're not emaciated and basically being held together by cancer. So, this will be coming soon. I don't have an exact date for you, but to share yet. But yeah, it'll be coming. I tease you with the skin that you can't get now. Yeah, that is correct. I am currently teasing you with a skin that is not yet available. Did I hear that Critical Role is coming back next Thursday? Woohoo, celebrate. I did. So, like many of you, I assume, I caught Marisha Ray's announcement video clip earlier today, in which they talked about their new social distance studio setup. In order to, because I don't know how many of you have been following. It's first of all, let's acknowledge for a second that it can be difficult to follow what's going on everywhere in relation to COVID-19 and other things that are happening right as we speak all over the world. But for those of you who may not know, Southern California has a pretty big film and television and entertainment industry, and they had been working on new guidelines in order for people to go back to work. Those, as I understand it, and I am not your trusted, most well-equipped source to give this news, but as I understand it, guidelines have come forward. So some studios and some some jobs and stuff are now able to open up again, and so Critical Role, now that they have guidelines to operate under, will be starting their broadcasts next week with episode 100. But all of their shows will be pre-recorded from here on out for at least the next little while. So, yeah. I am also excited that Critical Role is coming back. It's very strange. I'm not really sure why the camera is lagging, but I'll just blame Logitech, I guess. I don't know. Can we get some supply chests, pretty please? Well, our giveaways for this stream will be an ever-increasing number of chests for each winner. And so if supply chests are what you want, should you win, then yeah, that is what you can choose. Yeah. How goes your EGOT Superfecta quest? My EGOT Superfecta quest, I'm not sure what an EGOT Superfecta quest is. I know it I don't have an Emmy or a Grammy or an Oscar or a Tony, so I'm assuming you're meaning something else. Michael USA. But hey, I can't say I would turn down an EGOT or the EGOT. I guess you don't really turn down an EGOT. You eventually earn all of the awards to get one. It just makes me think of the announcement. Sorry, my brain kind of goes in funny directions. But thinking about an EGOT, my brain immediately went to Lin-Manuel Miranda doesn't have an EGOT yet, but he will eventually, I'm sure, complete his EGOT. But Hamilton's coming to Disney Plus in next week Friday, I think it is. That'll be the 3rd of July. Oh, this month went by fast. Pretty excited for that. Are there any hidden codes this stream? There's one. There is one hidden code today. Yeah. I'm just gonna switch this thing to. There we go. I wonder if that helped with my latency. Because I think I know what's causing the issue, and I'm just trying to see if I can't better mitigate it. How about now? Any clues on the hidden chest? I think the hidden chest is extraordinarily easy to find. However, I will concede that it'll be more obvious at some times than others. Does this mean a return to the questions about Critical Role characters in the game? Likely it does. Yeah, likely it does. And as always, given the opportunity to include the Mighty Nine or Vox Machina in Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms, we would love to, if that happens. But given that they're in the midst of trying to relaunch their show in a slightly adjusted format, since it's not quite live anymore. Which is going to be really tough on Laura when she loses something, because she can no longer rely on chat to tell her where it was. It's going to be a whole different thing, but it's going to be interesting. How do you win, and what chest can you choose from? Amiable Thorn. So we do regular giveaways in our chat. We are due to start one any moment now, actually. and everybody can participate. And the winner of the raffle will get a PM from C&E Games. There it is. Enter by typing in freely, and the winner can choose the type of gold chest that they get from the prize. How do we hit Freely's 500 thing? Will it only hit if you get above level 500, or is it a combo? Freely's 500 thing, is that one of his achievements? Sorry, I have not done the kind of due diligence I normally prefer to do, and I have not looked into Freely as much yet. Is it this one? Complete 500 areas with everybody in a full formation, empowered by luck of Yondala. So it doesn't need to be area 500. It will need to just be, completing 500 areas under that context. Or at least that's what it says it's supposed to do. If you find that hasn't been happening, please support an in-game, submit an in-game support ticket to Sean. Because as we know, all bugs are Sean's fault. Let's see. Sorry, I'm paying attention to chat. Yeah, sorry, Sean. No critical role for you. You only have time for bugs now. No, I'm kidding. Please be nice to Sean. Please. Anyways. Yeah, so if you're just joining us and you're wondering who that monstrous golem in the back is, that's our Krampus Krull skin for Krull, the Death Domain Cleric at Tiamat. That was available as part of our holiday newsletter giveaway for the end of 2019, which honestly feels like 50 years ago at this point. So that's where that one comes from. And then this one for Warden, Siren Knight Warden from back when Warden was a Knight of Sire, the Kingdom of Sire, before it became the Mournland, back when it still existed, is an uncorrupted version of Warden that will be available soon. I'm actually, I guess the thing that, if anything, that surprises and disappoints me slightly is nobody seems to have noticed that my spurt in the formation is constantly kept dead by the baby spurt that is parked on Spurt's ultimate. So baby spurt ensures the everlasting death of Spurt, as some sort of homage to how your children steal your life force. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But yeah, baby Spurt, keeping Spurt dead. How do we get gold chests for premium heroes? All my gem purchase chests are only giving me the standard hero gear. So the Emin Wolf, you can earn gold chests for non-evergreen characters by playing their events or by playing time gates. But gems will only ever be able to, or at least will only be able, are currently only able to allow you to purchase silver and gold chests, which award loot for the base 12 champions and say event, the base 12 champions as well as the evergreen unlocks. Do you think the bug of Krull not taking damage will be fixed soon? I mean, the only thing I know about the bugs is that they are working on them. Yeah. It's kind of an ongoing thing. Yeah. When is Penelope being added? So I don't have an exact date to give you. Hope in disguise. Actually, I don't know what Hope's Twitch account name is, but I do know that other characters for Beyond Heroes are in our production calendar, but it can take quite a bit of time to get to them. Yeah, it's, I don't know. So like I know that I'm kind of like muttering and trying to dance around the point. I can't give exact dates for any of the upcoming characters, except to say that yes, we do intend to add more characters from Beyond Heroes to the game. How do you get Fairy Dragon? I don't see it anywhere. So the Fairy Dragon Familiar is a retired DLC pack. There used to be a Fairy Dragon Familiar pack that you could purchase, but it has since been retired. And so, yeah, it's not currently available. Who is below Krull? That would be Warden. Yeah. You don't recognize them? Maybe I should just leave this up for a bit with this part. Yeah, Warden is getting a skin because I am persuasive, and I want Warden to have everything: more golden epics, more skins, more buffs, all of it. Does the timer reset on Spurt with Baby Spurt on his ultimate? Yeah, so what happens is Baby Spurt will hop on the ultimate and immediately cast it as soon as it is available each time. Is the Snowy Albear going to be available on the Switch? As I understand it, yes, it is. And so the Snowy Owlbear Familiar had gone into review for all platforms at the same time, and then but it is not getting through that entire process for each platform at the exact same speed, and so it will be available on Switch. Yes. Plum Bloco. If I open character chests for characters I have not yet unlocked, will those cards fall into the void or keep them for when I do unlock that character? That depends. So if you open gold and silver chests for a champion that you have yet to unlock, you will keep all that loot. And when you unlock them, the loot will be sitting there. Now, the reason... there's a slightly different scenario where if you don't have all of the evergreen unlocks done, so you haven't unlocked Dritz or Hitch or Azaka or, Dragonbait or, relatively soon to be Ulcoria Stonemarrow. If you don't have them unlocked, you can't get gear from them from gold chests until you unlock them. And so that's what makes them an evergreen character, because I'm so thankful every time I say that word, because I'm so glad that Chris Dupuis added that to our vernacular. But yeah, so if you open gold and silver chests for a specific champion, for an event champion, you will get and keep their loot, and then when you unlock them, it'll be there. But if you open gold and silver chests or weekend promotion chests, which can contain loot for a bunch of champions, but you have some of them, you don't have some of them unlocked, you can't get loot for them. Will Penelope be shorter than Freely? That is not a good question for me to answer. So, but what I can do is sidestep that entirely and talk a little bit about what we do when we are working with a creator to bring their character to life in the game. So, we would talk to Hope about Penelope, and it would probably take the form of a bunch of Zoom calls with all of us in remote places, because it's 2020 and that's how we do things now. And we would talk about what are the most essential things about bringing Penelope to life to make sure that we are retaining that character in that character's essence as we translate them into a game, because this isn't characters that come into our game don't look like Max Dunbar's art for them, and everybody has their own kind of different vision of what they how they picture them, and so we would want to know what are the most essential things that make Penelope into Penelope, and kind of start from there, and we go over it, and then at the same time we try to make sure that we adhere to the aesthetic standard and the kind of like general template that 5e Dungeons and Dragons has. And so which is why, for example, Kilik Ad Kolar, Quill from High Rollers Erebus, in the High Rollers Erebus game, in the world of Erebus that Mark Hulmes has created, Aarakocra's arms and wings are one and the same. They've got a hand, but they've also got the wing. Whereas in 5e Aarakocra, wings and arms are separate. So when we brought Quill to the game, we had to make that change. So, depending on, I don't know what Todd has done to or for Penelope, or what kind of aesthetic she has these days, or what's going on, because I know he gave wings to Lauren's Dragonborn, which is blasphemy. No, I'm kidding. So we do our best to make sure that we can bring them to life properly. You can see Briv there in the front, and Freely in the back at the top of the second column with 3 kobolds in the formation. So Penelope, people are asking who Penelope is now. Penelope is a halfling druid that Hope Lavelle plays on Beyond Heroes. Is a bubbly, awesome, fun character. Alrighty. Are there plans to make it more visible how much favor Freely gave you with his buff? With the 0 to favor blessing, I'm having a hard time seeing if he actually makes a big contribution. That's some good feedback, Olkan. I'm going to pass that along. Because obviously, if we introduce a champion with an ability like that, we do want you to be able to see that they made a difference in what you earned. So I'm just going to make a note here for our Dove team. Nubby Buck, how did you build this relationship with Wizards of the Coast? Did they approach you or the other way around? That is a better question for our CEO on the extraordinarily rare occurrence in which he pops up on stream. We worked hard to build the relationship. Is probably the ultra short non-answer I can give you. The how is, that's a better question for Eric if he chooses to answer it. Alrighty. Speaking of Icewind Dale, this week's Dragon magazine revealed Minotaur, the Goliath werebear. Do you agree she would make for an awesome champion? So I'm a little. This is a tricky thing to answer because we are. I don't want to say we're not in the loop because that's not right. Where we are in the loop for upcoming D&D books is very different from the rest of the world, and so whenever we're asked questions about something that's upcoming, we have to be very careful in how we answer them. I haven't read this week's Dragon magazine, and I didn't know that there was a Goliath werebear revealed. But I will say that a Goliath werebear sounds like an awesome frickin' character, doesn't it? Just awesome. So immediately Dylan is like, yeah, Goliath werebear, that sounds sweet. What are they, like a tank, or I don't know. They're obviously a very big bear. Because werebears are big, but a Goliath is already pretty huge, so a Goliath werebear has got to be just absolutely enormous, right? God, that'd be cool. Anyways. When are we getting the Dylan face skin for Warden? That's messed up. Hopefully never. Hopefully Warden doesn't decide that they want to start wearing faces, because that's creepy and gross. And I wouldn't want to be the face being worn by an eldritch corrupted monster warforged. Ugh. Will we ever get a champion that is a dungeon master in tribute to all the great DMs out there who add some to D&D? It doesn't really fit with the idea that we're adapting specific champions. I don't know that we would ever introduce a champion who represents dungeon masters. I think, if that was something that we wanted to do, we would be able to do it in another way. We could add, for example, and I'm not saying we're doing this because it is currently absolutely not in development. I'm not joking or being sarcastic. But if we had done as somebody put it, Lord Mercer as a patron, that would be interesting. But again, I feel like singling out one specific dungeon master over all other dungeon masters isn't really a fair thing to do. Because there are dungeon masters come in all shapes and sizes. There are a gajillion of them, and they all add different things to the game. I don't know that you can have one person or one character represent all DMs. Yeah. Let's see. If you don't have enough characters in the same alignment on Live Free variant for Freely, you can have 3 characters that have automatically luck on them. So you can choose 3 characters that are not lawful and put them aside freely, and have freely have his specialization on lawful. This is an example. I'm not sure I entirely grokked that, Sinden. I haven't done that variant. But if you think you are seeing a bug, please submit an in-game support ticket and be like, "Hey, Sean, is this a thing?" And he will look into it. Plans for any more campaigns like Curse of Strahd or Storm King's Thunder? So yes, there's a couple things. So far, this game went into early access, came out of closed beta and went into early access was it August or September 2017? So, late summer 2017. We introduced a permanent campaign for Tomb of Annihilation, and then the following year a permanent campaign for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, followed by the next year a permanent campaign for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, and we have confirmed that yes, we will be adding another permanent campaign to the game for Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, in very near the release date for the TRPG book. When it comes to previously published books like Curse of Strahd or Storm King's Thunder, we can and intend, so far, one of the things that we have done is we introduced a sort of abridged Curse of Strahd campaign into the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast campaign, our permanent campaign. And so players had the opportunity to travel to Barovia, meet lots of things, kill them, take the loot, and eventually deal with Strahd and escape. We would like to tackle some of the elements that have been in other 5e books. Storm King's Thunder being one that does interest us, but it's not something that we have a specific idea in mind for right now. We want to finish up some of them. Like Waterdeep Dragon Heist is coming to its narrative conclusion soon, and this time next year we will want Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus to be wrapping up close to its narrative conclusion before whatever the 2021 book is coming out, etc. I looked at the slight desynchronization between AV, and I'm not entirely clear on what's causing it. But while I am live, I don't know that there's much I can do about it. I can hide my mouth so that it doesn't look as much like I'm out of sync, but then it just sounds bad. Yeah. Okay. Is the spurt in our game the one from campaign to episode 50? They're both kobolds, and I just started rewatching during these long isolation hours. So, yes, Spurt the Kobold. Well, there he is. Was an 11-day-old inventor, which is why his age is 0. The lowest age in our game, 0. Who, had a brief stint as an adventurer over the course of a few hours before meeting his untimely end in, everywhere but our hearts. And so yes, we worked with Chris Perkins to bring this little kobold boy to our game. All right. Hypothetically, if you open an event chest when you have unlocked none of the characters included, what happens then? So we don't do chests for specific events. Event chests tend to be, gold and silver chests for each individual champion. So if you open one of those, but you somehow don't have that character unlocked, I'm not sure what situation you'd be able to do that. I guess maybe you bought the chests but haven't unlocked I don't know. But if you purchase the chest but you don't have the characters unlocked, but they are for a specific champion, when you open them, you will have that loot for them, and it'll be in your inventory, and it'll show up when you get it, when you get them unlocked. Hey Dylan, I hope you're having a nice day. Thank you. Sorry if this has been discussed or asked previously, and I've just missed it. Has there been an exploration into showing process on the Steam Friends list display? Some games will give in-game details of what players are doing to their friends, and I was wondering if this was feasible for champions. That is a really good question for Dave to answer, because he has explained his answer to that question to me before, and I cannot remember it. So that's a great big question mark. So I'll pass it along. I don't know if that's something that we're looking into doing or not. But it's an interesting idea. Are there any gains from level upgrades on ultimate cooldown reduction after reaching the maximum reduction? For example, are upgrades on those slots wasted at a certain point? Well, there is a cap to how much ultimate ability cooldown can be reduced. So yes, past a certain point, I don't know what the exact number is, but past a certain point, you no longer receive additional benefit from adding levels to them. This is something that we're aware of. We have been aware of for some time, and it's on our to-do list to address, but isn't something that has been basically deemed a high enough priority to focus on over and above a lot of the other features and stuff. Like right now, our devs are very much working on multi-instance mode and Motron automation and doing beta testing with some of our beta testers. And we may even open that up further to additional testers. We're not sure yet. All right. Why don't I have familiars picking up my gold and hitting the distractions? I like being able to, while I'm on stream, see the champions hitting enemies. With the familiars there and like a fire breath potion, everything just kind of explodes, and I don't want it to progress too quickly. Yeah. Anytime there are 3 kobolds in the formation, a trench coat should magically appear on one of them. Like many of you, I'm sure that piece of concept art for the new D&D book, in which 3 kobolds were dressed in a trench coat in, I assume, somewhere in 10 towns, one of the 10 towns, was a great piece of art. Yeah. Will we ever see adventures or content that leaves the Sword Coast, places like Cormyr, Zental Keep, or Thay? That's a great question, Evil Sales Associate. And thank you for all your evil sales. It's a hard question to give a definitive answer to, but what I can say is that you've already left the Sword Coast to go to a pocket dimension and visit Barovia. So it is certainly possible that something like that could happen again. One Arm Gamer, could we get a way to show buffs affecting all champions? Can you be more specific? Like which buffs? Are you talking about? Yeah, One Arm Gamer, what specifically are you referring to? Are you meaning like all champion damage increased items, or are you talking about from blessings? Like, I think I need a little more specificity there. Sean Rolm would like to know whether or not you play a character on any of the D&D stream shows. I can confirm that I haven't yet. Nobody invited me. But I don't think I like. I mean, right now I'm DMing a few campaigns. I'm not playing in anything because our office campaigns aren't running. We're all remote, and the world is different. But I can't like playing at home the way I play characters with friends, or or even the way that we our quite frankly really RP heavy office Curse of Strahd campaign. I don't think I could do that on camera with others for an audience. I don't know. I personally have never been that kind of performer person. Yeah, I don't know. That just and I don't think I'd play my character the same way. I think it'd be really weird. Isn't Avron a DM's character? Well, yes. So, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, like Avron is Todd Kenrick's character. Todd Kenrick being the DM of Beyond Heroes, but he also plays Avron on Silver and Steel, and then Spurt, as well as most characters, are Chris Perkins' character. So, yeah, there's there are some characters tied to DMs that are in our game. We have at least one more character played by a relatively famous DM coming to the game later this year. That's true. Yeah. How to get the Warden skin. We are not going to talk about that part yet, Xanthox. We're just kind of... This is the soft preview. The hey, who's that thick Warforged? And it's Warden. The one on the right is a very good example of don't do drugs. It's like Eldritch Horror, not even once. Anyways. Wait, here's the real question. If Will Wheaton was able to create a character, would that champion just be cursed with bad luck and massive disadvantage? I mean, Will Wheaton has created characters for D&D, and he used to be a regular guest on Acquisitions Incorporated. Would he have disadvantage? I don't know. I mean, we could put just like a pool of melted remains in the middle of the formation and say that it's Aophel. Anyways. Are there ever weekend chests with 0 core champions? I think there have been, yeah. I'm pretty sure, didn't we literally just do one like that? It's not something that we do on a regular basis because we usually like to include at least 1 or 2 core champions, just in case somebody is a newer player and has yet to unlock a number of event champions. But, the Legends of Faerun had Jamila. This one coming up has 2 core champions in it. But yeah, we have in the past put out weekend chests for that include no core champions. It does happen. Kiss weekend and shifted weekend. Yeah, there you go. If you don't own any of them, I'm not sure what happens. That's a good question. That's a good question for not me. I'm going to make a note here. See if that's something that... see if I can get some clarity on that. It's going to be tricky because, we don't have access to Justin right now, so... Alrighty. Will Modron automation be paid with real money or in-game currency? It's definitely too early to start talking about the details behind Modron automation and multi-adventure mode. What I can say is that if you're wondering whether or not there will be options for you to unlock and use features through free play, the answer is yes. That's something that we've been pretty steadily committed to. Let's see. Dylan, I noticed that Ashara has has a bond with Tritons, and let's see. Since Ashara is an older champion, were Tritons planned but never made it to the game, or are they gonna eventually come? So What can I say about that? Uh, every once in a while, we look at our champions and we do balancing passes and we make adjustments. And in the past, that has included doing things like adding additional abilities to champions, complete overhauls, or in the case of Ashara, we added another tier of bonds at one point, and it could, yeah, it's we didn't have a specific Triton in mind with that. Who is that next to Krull? Oh, that's Warden. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know how many of you have read into or pay attention to Eberron at all, but we spent a bunch of time trying to find like an official piece of key art that has the Siren flag on it, and instead we ended up going based on a description in Keith Baker's Eberron blog about what the Siren crest looks like, and so that's what the front of the tabard is there for Warden. But yeah, this is Warden back when they were still the jailer for their prison, before the morning, before the kingdom of Sire fell, before they became corrupted, and as I don't know if anybody has read all the flavor text on all of the different items that Warden has access to, but a whole lot of elder evils referenced, and it's like, yeah, lots of evil, dark, corruptive stuff. So, but back in the day, Warden was a great example to other Warforged. Let's see. I would love it if all blessings displayed what buff they were currently giving. I will pass that along. Boom, 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 boom. Now, it looks like without access to Justin, we won't be able to answer the age-old question of how what chests will do when you have no champions for them. What weekend chests will do with no chests for them, because I don't know. I don't have access to anybody right now who understands how all that stuff was put together. When are you guys going to add stuff for really high players? It would be nice to progress to level 1500 plus, for example. I mean, where high players are is something that always changes, right? Like, before Averin, before Krull, before, Briv, and before year 3 champions, essentially, the ceiling was a lot lower than it is now. Before the last soft cap increase, the ceiling was a lot lower than it is now. We are always working on and adding to what you could call the end game. Adding more challenging variants, adding more adventures, adding more features. Patrons offer probably the highest amount of challenge in that you're adding additional difficulty to, adventures you might already find difficult. So, yeah, I guess I'm not sure I understand the question, Nocturne. Like, we almost always add content targeted exclusively at the highest level players, because the content is always the next step that we release. Is there an easier way to get Freda? I'm assuming that's the character that Amiable Thorn was trying to ask about. So Freda has an event that comes every autumn. So the next time High Harvestide, I think it is, rolls around. I guess it's late summer, early autumn, depending on exactly when the event lands. So you can wait for Freda's event to unlock her then. You can use 6 time gate pieces to just select Freda's event and unlock her that way, or you can roll the dice with your time gate weekends in between events and see whether or not Freda becomes an option. So those are your 3 gameplay focused ways of doing it, and then of course there's always the option to open the in-game shop. Killarothi, could we get an option to sort formation incoming damage buffs by their strength. For example, strongest or weakest at the top of the list. Where would this be showing, Killer Rossi? I'm not sure I totally understand the suggestion. I just realized that was the formation buffs tab for each character. Oh, okay. So you want to be able to sort the formation buffs tab. So I'll just pull up Briv and go over here. Okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying. So I don't know if that is something that is an easy fix or a crazy amount of work or something that we're never ever going to do, but I can promise to pass that along. All right. Is there a way to look at your unlocked characters outside of the adventure? There isn't. We've always considered that the in an adventure is the default screen, and that the map where you select an adventure is just an in-between adventures thing. That's not the default screen. That's the in-between thing. And so everything is accessible from in an adventure variant, not from the map screen. Did you have Bruner's song in your head those 2 days? I did. I'll admit, a couple of times I caught myself humming along to it and thinking about it. And there's Jason and I have put some time aside next week to add another verse and kind of finish that up before we jump into episode 2, where we're going to do our darndest to write a long, epic, amazing song. But to write a song about Spurt the Kobold. So that should be interesting. Yeah. And if anybody else is curious about that, we have another show called Bardic Inspiration that we do on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, in which Jason Charles Miller, frontman for Godhead, voice of Dritz in Neverwinter, Underdark, played Brig Steelclaw, I think is the name of the character on Sirens of the Realms, big member of the D&D community, where he, along with my help facilitating, working with chat, we write a song about a champion. It's very different. It's interesting, and shout out to those of you who stuck around for the episode earlier this week, because it was a fun time, I thought. Any possibility for a Warden feat with a different alignment to represent this? It's possible. Yeah. I don't think that's something that we're necessarily planning to do. While we do make skin and feet packs, like the one for Artemis and the one for Archon the Cruel. I don't believe that was something that we were planning on doing with Warden for the Siren Knight one. Yeah. By the way, the guy in the stream yesterday said that you get the equipment even if you don't have the champion, if it comes from a champion. Yeah, event champion gold and silver chests will always give you loot for them, and it will be stored in your data even if you don't have that champion unlocked. It's the weekend promo chests that come out every Friday that sometimes include only champions that have been unlocked from events. I don't know that it'll give you anything if you don't have any of those champions unlocked. So that's the one where we need to get a more definitive answer from Justin. So it's just kind of marked it on our list. Please remind us. Nocturne. So, okay, my gold is E100 plus, and the updates stop at E63. It would be nice to not be able to reach the soft cap. Even when you update it, it's an instant reach to the top again, which makes the game a little boring. Well, I mean, how did you get to E100? Because I got to say, it's not the typical player experience to have E100 favor. Like, I know how I got to... my E97 play favor, and it was taking advantage of an exploit. And I'm not saying that it's, I'm not trying to shame you for doing anything like that, but, you know, top level players, the top 1% of the players don't have E100 favor. That's another tier above. Oh, congrats, Antoine. Arugula, I think we need a second row at the bottom showing the upgrade after next and the cost, so we could see 2 upgrades at once. It could be an option in the settings. Oh, you mean at the bottom of the game screen? So you'd see it below. I can pass that feedback along. I don't know if that's something that we would do, because one of the things about the way that our UI is built is that it doesn't adapt like that. Like that would be, every piece is individually constructed in such a way that it's not a simple addition to do something like that. So, yeah, I can pass that feedback along, but it's not something that I think would necessarily be an easy addition or fix. Wish there was a way to set up the champions so they are easier to identify without having to open up the information page and switch each character. Like if I'm trying to put only neutral champions up, I have to flip between all the champions to find out which one has that. Drives me crazy. Can't you color code the box for red, evil, green, neutral, blue, good, or so you can know based on their background what their alignment is? So yeah, I mean, there are always ways to iterate and improve on your UI so that you can make some of those bits of information easier to find. Because like right now is you pull up your background sheet and that's where you see what alignments are. Alignment, lawful evil, boom, there it is. As well as like where overwhelm is, where their role is, race, whatever. So yeah, I can pass that along, but I'm not sure that that's in line with anything that they might potentially want to do. Still, it never hurts to make the suggestions, so keep them coming. The feature I would like to see is the ability to look at a character sheet without having to switch them into the formation. I agree. Not that I'm saying that it's necessarily going to happen, but I agree with that feedback. And I will pass that along. Alrighty. Luck of Yondala applies once per champion that strikes the enemy. While you can only have 10 champions in a formation at any given time, you could swap dozens in and get more than 10 stacks. Is this intended gameplay or emergent? I can't tell you what Justin intended because Justin's not here. I think at this point we're pretty aware of bench swapping and stuff. That being said, it's probably emergent gameplay. If I were to guess. Is there a limit to how much a base attack cooldown can be reduced? Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to make a note for that to pass that along too. Is there a limit to how much a base attack cooldown can be reduced? I think there is, but I'm not sure where it would cap out. So, just making a note here. Let's see if I can't get an answer from Adev, who's working. We will see. All right. Speaking of upgrades, just having an extra line of text above the upgrade button saying simple things like personal damage, group damage, special, ultimate. We have icons for that stuff. Like that are consistently used. So you could tell which ones are self-DPS and which ones are abilities based on the different icons that are shown. Why do so many of the new champions have no affiliations when we know they are affiliated? Do you, though? Like, I mean, like, I'm assuming that you're referring specifically to, like, no affiliation here under Freely, right? Um, there isn't an easy way to answer that question. All characters come from somewhere, obviously, but not necessarily all characters from everything are going to come to the game. It sounds to me like, so there's a couple things that happen when you put an in-game affiliation. Like, never mind that it affects things like Walnut's specializations, because non-affiliated characters, or Acquisitions Incorporated affiliated characters, that kind of thing. But then you also have some other expectations and some other things that you kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Wow, my water tastes like tea because I used this thing for tea last. Okay. There's an expectation when you put an affiliation on a character that entire party might be coming to the game. Sometimes we're not worried about that because there aren't other members of the party in the game yet. Does that make sense? Like, we didn't have an affiliation for Jim Darkmagic when he first came to the game because he was the first character from the who would be officially affiliated with just the main Acquisitions Incorporated game group and not the C team. He was just the first one to join, and so he was not affiliated to start. So, sometimes it's just something that we don't do because there isn't a reason to do it yet, or they don't have other members of their group there. Like, even though Briv is in the game, Briv is not in the same party as Freely anymore. So, yeah, it's just kind of... it's kind of a case-by-case basis thing. Like, we kind of make the call on whether or not a character is affiliated. And it also really depends on, what character, like what snapshot of them we are taking at what time and who they are, when they're joining the game. Because, like, we don't have, 30 books in, epic quest level Dritz in the game. We just have a Dritz in the game. We have an Artemis who's pre-shade as the default Artemis character. So there's also that aspect too. Feist99, is there a way to disable upgrade notification boxes? There isn't. So we've been looking into whether or not the behavior on them has changed, because they have certainly seemed a lot more spammy lately. So that's something that we're still kind of looking into. I don't know that we're going to change it, but that is something that we're looking at. Will there be any additional blessing tiers added to the current campaigns for people who already have all current tiers of blessing purchased? That's a maybe. Like, I think you can safely expect that there will be blessings for the next campaign that comes out, and there will be probably more blessings for some of the other campaigns in the future. But I also, like, and I'm not saying this in an official capacity, but, like, I can't think of a reason why you would continue to add blessings to the Tomb of Annihilation campaign at this point, given that campaign is done. Like, the challenging variants have all come out, I think, at this point. The Evergreen unlock is done. Evergreen unlocks, I should say. We're not planning to add additional blessings to that. Let's see. Instead of... That's another suggestion. I would like the option of using several champions irregardless of their seat. I imagine you would, but that would definitely break the game, allowing for some very much unintended behaviors. Like, the reason that so many gold champions or gold find champions are in the same slot is specifically so you don't have a gold find champion in every spot, and you get to use too many of them at a time. yeah, that's a balancing nightmare. I fully acknowledge that it would be fun, but it's not something that we're planning to do. Just gonna. Alrighty. Oh, I just realized that it's 2 o'clock and I have somebody waiting to join my call.
Hello. Hello.
I cannot hear you. Oh no! Now I can. I can now.
Oh, hello. Let me choose a more appropriate background for our grand time here.
Ha! There we go. We got it.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Yes. Sorry, I came in hot for this one.
No worries. I'm just wondering if I am too loud versus you. So what I've noticed lately, and this wouldn't be your fault, but that because you get so little control over Zoom's incoming audio, that when you're setting out audio through at least through XSplit. Anyways, so I'm asking the audience, like, am I too loud? Do I need to tone myself down and be Dave up, or no?
Never change. That's what I say. I say never change.
One of the first comments is like, I don't have a question. I just want to officially welcome the undisputed Baron of the Valley to the game.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, and my lucky boy over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. Nice.
Mm-hmm. He's made it.
Yeah. Actually, what I could do is I can show you what is going out on screen right now. So.
Hey.
Yeah. So.
Lay a beating on him freely.
Yeah, your boy is up here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see him. Hey, look at that. See, they won already. Just luck. He brings it with him.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
So yeah, first things first. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I came running in immediately, like fresh off the heels of another stream. So thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm late.
No, it's good. You were exactly on time. You know, like like Gandalf, right? You arrive precisely when you mean to.
Never early nor late.
Yeah.
Right, precisely when I mean to.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm also.
Thank you.
Coincidentally, I'm actually wearing the same shirt as you underneath this one.
Hey, that's it. New uniforms. There it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I was like covetously looking at the new ones that they have set up for Lambert House, and I haven't grabbed any of those yet.
I was not aware that there's new Lambert House swag. I have to go take a look.
Well, I lost in the social media shuffle of late.
Yeah,
but it is
it's
there.
Sort of. It's been a complicated few weeks. Yes, but that's all right. That's all right. So, also. Oh, he hit him with his Eldritch Blast. Y'all, okay, first of all, let me just tell you straight up. So, I've said this before, I've never played a halfling ever. For the most part, I don't like the small folk historically. And I played freely because I've been blessed to do so much D&D that at this point, it's just like, what haven't I done? I'm just doing things I haven't done. So I was like, I'll play a halfling with this like crazy multi-class charisma setup. Like, it'll be fine. Like, whatever, like it'll be great. And just because originally I was just supposed to be a guest, and it was a character concept that I was tumbling around in my mind. And my lucky boy has really been the luckiest boy. Like, I went from a guest to main cast to another show, the first one to be in a video game ever, Like, it's like he really does make his own luck. So it is wild to see him come to life. It's wild to see this happening. Like, it's crazy. Like, I seriously nerded out when I first saw the animation for him. Because this has been like a 6-month process.
Yeah. It takes a time. And it's and then also for us, like our production schedules and how everything gets done has been spread out and slowed down also because 2020. So because
I got the joy of seeing Freely drop somebody with his Eldritch Blast there. Sorry, I'm very much watching the footage of see, get him, break yourself. Yes, I love it. Yeah. I'd be terrible at streaming this game. I'm good at streaming games. I'd be bad at this one because every time I'd be like, get him freely. Like, you guys, I got him.
There's lots of characters attacking Zariel right now, looks like.
I mean, that's how it is. Although Zariel's getting kind of close. Like, stay away from me, Zariel. See, look at that. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Briv.
Sorry, Dylan.
Briv finished her off.
That's as we do, as we're heroes, both of us. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin. I got lots of questions I want to ask you. Let's start easy. Let's start just talking about D&D. When did you start with D&D? When did you get into it?
I've been playing D&D for almost 30 years. I've been playing since I was a wee lad. And also, I'm going to say hi to everybody in Twitch. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'm typing terribly. Okay. I've been playing since I was 13 years old. Never really got out of it. You know, a lot of times people say things like, oh, well, I played for a long time and then sort of like drifted. And no, it's nonstop. Even as found my love for video games. I guess I was playing video games even longer than I was playing D&D. And it's just been my life. Like, I keep looking over there because all my old second edition box sets and stuff are over there in the corner. That's why my eyes keep cutting that way when I talk about how long I've been playing. And it's just been amazing to see this resurgence and get to be a part of it. It's just it's wild and entirely unexpected, and I love every second of it.
It's been a surreal half decade, I guess, since D&D Next 5e launch, all that stuff, and then just suddenly everybody plays D&D. It's weird, but it's good. It's good. Makes me happy.
Well, you know what I'm finding is so many people either did play, and a lot of people that you might not necessarily have expected, and then a lot of people wanted to play and didn't know how, or didn't have a group, or didn't have friends, or just everybody assumed that person wouldn't be into it, because for a long time it was a refuge of, like, the geek kids. Like, the cool kids were doing something else, and the not cool kids were doing this. But turns out it's like the cool kids were playing the entire time, and the not cool kids are the cool kids. So now there's only cool kids. It's we all are cool kids. We're all rolling advantage on charisma now, at least when it comes to talking about gaming and D&D.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned the, like, people, a refuge for a specific group of people, I guess, perhaps to start, but has expanded beyond that. I know that like my mother-in-law plays with us in one of the campaigns that I DM, and we asked her if she wanted to play, and she was like, she got really emotional. She's like, nobody ever asked me if I wanted to play before, and she spent like 10 hours prepping the backstory for her first character, who I eventually killed.
I mean, you didn't kill. The dice killed. Fate killed.
Yeah.
Hate.
Yeah.
Killed.
She did fail death saving rolls, so I guess I can't take all the responsibility for it. But
I mean, it is super your fault, though. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it was. Actually, to be honest, the rest of the table was like shocked and horrified, and she was like, "Oh, okay," and like just kind of like, she's like, "Well." And I'm like, it's okay. We'll after this game's done, I'll sit with you and we'll make another character. She's like, oh, cool. Like, suddenly I got very excited.
They weren't high enough level for reses or anything? Like, she was just gone,
no.
gone?
No, they were like level 4 or something at the time, I think. So
monstrous.
Yeah.
Hey, man, the lower level is when it is at its most lethal. Like, I mean, when you're level 1 or level 2, that goblin with a battle axe is an existential threat.
Yeah. Well, it's it's hard to not kill your players when they're low level, and then eventually they're indestructible and you can't do anything to them. It just seems to be how D&D goes. So,
my niche is level 20 play. You can still get them. You can still get them. There's always a bigger goblin.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Somebody in chat saying that you're amazing in Beyond Heroes and Heroes of the Veil, and they hope that Freely has another crossover soon.
You might see Freely crossing over very soon. Yeah, and also Averin is going to be on Dungeons & Dragons and Darkened Wish tonight. Season 2, Episode 1 is tonight. Twitch.tv/D&D at 5 Pacific.
That was on my list. I was going to ask you when that show was starting up again. I didn't realize it had just started. Cool.
Episode 1 of Season 2 is coming back. So yeah, and a wild Averin is going to appear.
Yeah.
So it's should be a good time. So definitely tune in. You might listen close. You might get some crumbs about what's going to happen in a number of places and to a number of adventuring parties.
Oh.
ADK.
Oh. That's actually kind of like a good segue. How awesome is it to be the writer of A Darkened Wish?
Like, people throw this around in a cavalier way, but it really was a dream come true to be able to add a link to the continuity of the Forgotten Realms, and add my own notes to that particular symphony was wild and exciting. And I learned so much about the realms, and I leaned into so many things that I didn't know. I set the story in the Moonshay Isles because originally I wanted to do it as like a completely homebrew story, and they were like, no, it has to be in a recognizable place. And I was very resistant because I didn't want to be beholden to 50 years of continuity.
Yeah.
And I knew it's like I couldn't burn down Waterdeep, or I couldn't destroy Neverwinter or something if I wanted to, you know? So that's why I said about the Moonshay Isles originally, is that it was not Baldur's Gate. It wasn't one of the iconic locations. Turns out the very first Forgotten Realms story ever written was about the Moonshay Isles, Darkwalker on Moonshay.
Oh, really?
So much so, so much so the story actually predates the Forgotten Realms, and TSR bought it and was like, cool, that's a place in the Forgotten Realms now. So I ended up having this like super deep cut nod back to the earliest origins of the mythos, really, in a way that even I didn't understand. And I laid into it. There's so many nods and references to classic stories, all through those comics for people that did. Like, for the most part, if a strange name gets thrown out there, Google it. It's from somewhere, and I put it in there on purpose. So, you have Zariel there. I wrote this story way before The Descent came out, so a lot of characters from The Descent into Avernus are also in the story. So it was very much, it's my love letter to the Forgotten Realms, both looking back to the past and looking ahead to its future. So it was really great to get to do. And, hey, who knows? Hopefully we'll get to do more. And also, it's on sale right now. So if you go to IDW's Twitter, I think it's D&D Live 2020 is the coupon code. IDW Publishing on Twitter, they have the coupon code up there. You can get Darkened Wish. You can get the single issues. You can get the trade paperback. You can get digital. You can get my books, Jim Sub's books. It's all incredible. No wrong answer.
Awesome. That's super cool. Yeah, it's funny because I remember talking to Aaron Evans about writing the Brimstone Angels novels, and I'm like, Forgotten Realms is a daunting amount of information. She's like, oh yeah, because like,
that's a lot.
You come up with an idea for something, and you're like, I should probably check with somebody whether or not this is okay.
Well, and you got that one guy where you're like, oh, we're going to these mountains, and you're like, no, excuse me. In 1988, in the Supplement Dragon magazine, it was established that those dragons have been overrun. And I'm like, bro. Yeah. But it's, Toriel's a big place. So, and a lot of the realm has been forgotten. So, it is nice to see them continuing to push the envelope and expand things. Again, now we know we're returning to Icewind Dale in this year's adventure. I got to tell y'all, living in a world, being a fanboy in a world of NDAs really sucks. Because you know so much stuff that you're like, oh my God, I wish I could tell you blah. And now being able to talk about Icewind Dale again is nice. Being a resident of Icewind Dale for D&D Live was dope. So it's all
yeah. It makes it both challenging to dance around different parts of conversations, but then also news is never as new for you. And you're like, because I know that we were sitting there last week. You're trying to get work done, also paying attention to the announcement of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, and we're like, we're listening for everything that they say is in it, because like, we have more information, and like, what can I say from these things?
What can I say now?
Yeah, I'm like, there's a check mark for this thing and for this thing.
Right, okay,
I'm like, I guess these whole sections we're gonna not talk about. Just like push that aside.
Not these two other things.
Yeah, and then of course, like all creative projects, some stuff that's early on in the creative process for the like the first Codename deck that they put together, saying what the product's going to be. It might not look like that 6 months, 10 months, 12 months later. So, sometimes there are things that just don't make it. They don't make the cut. So it happens.
I mean, it absolutely happens, and things change and mutate and get combined and split, and it's just, yeah, yeah. And it's amazing how long the development cycle is. I think people underestimate that. It's literally years in the development cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, because you think you're like, oh, well, let's sit down now and talk about what we're gonna do next year. It's like, no, they're talking about like 2025, like now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
they've laid a lot of groundwork for a lot of books. Yeah.
Yeah.
That we totally can't talk about, but maybe after this show's over.
Yes, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's what I heard. Somebody else told me. It wasn't me at all.
Yeah. Well, there was a moment at the Stream of Many Eyes where Joey and Lauren and myself and a couple other people were all standing around, and we were trying to talk about Waterdeep Dragon Heist that had not yet been announced on the, like, because it's like the day before when they're still building the set, and then we kind of stopped, like, wait a minute, we're all under the same NDA, we're all here for the same reason, we can talk, we do know what this is, and so we had this fun moment of actually getting to talk about it.
Because you do have that that moment of, like, you know, where you're like sort of like, hey, so yeah, working on, you're like, yeah. Where you're like kind of tiptoe around like who knows what. It's
fun, it's good. I missed there not being a live D&D live this year, but very understandably there wasn't. So
I mean, it was bizarre having there not be a con season essentially. I mean, I think next year is going to be smaller. I think year after next, assuming, you know, the apocalypse is well in hand, we'll be back to normal in 2 to 3 years. I think it's going to be a minute till we see like 200,000 people at Comic-Con. But I do think we will get back there. It's going to take some time though.
I'm comfortable with some aspects of life going back to normal, but it would be a shame to not take advantage of the opportunity of the world stopping to, you know, maybe fix and improve some things before going back to normal. So,
you know, well, I mean, and that's the thing. Cons were already petri dishes. You know, everybody goes, you get con cred every time. Now con cred might be like lethal. You're like, oh, okay. You know? Yeah.
There are more than one events we've participated in where, you know, we have our like hand sandy like right there on the table, and you'll shake somebody's hand and say hi, and then like while you're talking to them, like and like cleaning everything, and don't like, take offense.
I felt the grit when I touched you there. Right.
It's like, well, you know, I'm trying not to make you sick or me sick. You know, let's not be a disease vector.
Let us not be part of the problem. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so. It's we'll see it, but I mean, I think honestly, I got to tell you, and I don't say this like lightly because I realize this has been a calamitously difficult time for a lot of people. That people have lost loved ones. I mean, and, you know, in which I'm not at all insensitive to, but I do think overall, I think we're going to see some positive changes out of this, not just for this industry, but, you know, for society. I mean, hopefully. We have an astonishing ability to forget the lessons of the past, but I think in this, I mean, even if it's just small things, like everybody always looked down on the head in the box streaming. I mean, some of us have been doing it, but for the most part, it's like being around the table was always perceived as like the superior way. You know, now people have proven that you can produce some top flight content, especially with talent that is in a lot of remote places. You know, which is nice. That also lowers a lot of the barrier of entry for people that don't necessarily have a big studio space that can accommodate a lot of people. You know, like now the audience can accept, you know, content that isn't necessarily like that a little more freely, no pun intended, which, you know, gives the opportunity that we'll be able to get better and better stories told. Well, stuff like that, I think is going to be good. Yeah, no, I agree. I choose to be optimistic. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, because pessimism is exhausting. Yeah, it is. So, you know. Let's see. Somebody asked whether or not you enjoyed your run through Matt Mercer's world. So Freely had a complicated time in Wildmount, I say, is evidenced by his mechanical arm, because he sort of went to Wildmount all in one piece and left in not one piece. Yes. Although my lucky boy was basically in a meat grinder the entire time he was there, from like the day he arrived to the day he left, surrounded by hags on a cursed and exploding ship. So, yes. Yeah, sort of gonna kiss the ground when he ever finds his way back to Waterdeep. Yeah.
Somebody else was asking, this is a little bit of a step backwards. How would you suggest to somebody who has always been interested in Dungeons and Dragons, how would you suggest they get into it, like preferably online, as this person is not super social?
Well, shameless plug, I run D&D games via my Patreon, running D&D games every day of the week, and a lot of vampire and other stuff, so patreon.com/BDaveWalters. Second to that, I'd participate in a community like D&D's Discord or D&D Beyond Discord. There's gaming notices up all the time, and this is like there's literally thousands, maybe tens of thousands of home D&D games have been born out of the pandemic. So it's always going on. And worst case after that is, say, start one. You don't need many people. I mean, you could play with 2 or 3 friends. I mean, honestly, you could play with 1 friend. I do one-on-one shots where I run 1 person through a game every Sunday. So yeah, it can be done. Just speak up, be in those communities and speak up. Go on Twitter, just say out loud, I'm looking for a D&D game, and put the right tags in it. Someone will find you.
Yeah, and like D&D recently launched their Discord and started adding links and ways to grab stuff, and certainly seems like they're trying to take a more active role in connecting people to each other, which is good, because we certainly have been in a challenging year for connecting with people. So
also, it is Greg Tito's birthday today. Shout out to Greg Tito.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, happy birthday, Tito.
Yeah, man, he got me in the door in the D&D community, and for that I thank him, and for all of his good works. So yes, happy birthday, Greg Tito.
Yeah, there we go. I see Lauren posted a little a Tito head and a heart.
A wild Lauren has appeared. Hello. Also, Lauren is going to be joining me on Ascension on Roll For It, which is the show that I just left, which is Thursday mornings at 10 Pacific. Lauren Urban will be joining us for presumably the next 4 weeks. I don't know. I'll let you say if it's going to be 4 weeks or not, Lauren, because you're there, because you're everywhere. And yeah, she's going to be playing an Aarakocra, which will be nice, because I cannot.
Whoa, really? She's playing an Aarakocra?
Playing an Aarakocra. Yep.
Going really far outside her comfort zone.
It's a deep cut. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. That's true. Hey, but you know what? Callie's not a bird person. Callie can't fly, her character on Silver and Steel. So there you go.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Somebody else was wondering if you sleep.
Yo, I don't. I don't. I wish I did. And the most messed up thing about it? I genuinely enjoy sleeping. Like, those people that are like, oh, I hate sleep, I gotta stay busy. I'm like, no, I am busy. I actually look forward to sleep as like a hobby. I do very little of it because I run about 6 to 10 games a week for Patreon, and then I stream 2 games on Sunday, although it's 3 this Sunday. 1 game on Tuesday, 2 games on Thursday, 2 games on Friday. In addition to those games, in addition to the writing projects, in addition to the Saint stuff that you just have to do in life. So yeah,
that's a lot of games.
Yeah, no, but it's. I realize though, it's champagne problems, man. Because when I start to feel worn out, which does happen sometimes, because 7 days a week, it's a rough pace. I just remind myself I used to be this busy doing stuff I hated.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm like, it's all right. It's hard fun. Yeah, but it's good. And no, I don't at all. Actively trying to figure out a way to. I, as of yet, haven't figured it out.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was just thinking about how much I would love sleep. Sleep would be great. Yeah, it's a really great feeling thing, and you feel really good when you've had it.
It's weird. Apparently, there's something called recovery your body does during this sleep or whatever they call it, this sleep state, I don't know. I'm like a Warforged. I'd never. I could just shut down temporarily and don't lose awareness.
Temporarily inert.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know. And then, that's nice. I'll sleep eventually. I don't know when. Yeah.
What else do we have here? Somebody was asking whether or not you participated in GygaxCon online this year. GygaxCon. Was that what it's called?
No, that wasn't what it was called. It was
Not Founders and Legends. GaryCon.
GaryCon. Yeah, GaryCon. Yes. Did I? I don't think I did anything for GaryCon, but I am doing something for Founders and Legends. Wait, did I do something for GaryCon? I don't think so. Y'all, like, it really is a blur. Like, especially because the last month was 6.5 months.
Yeah. March was actually 6 years ago.
But y'all, I mean, not to be too much of a downer, but Kobe died this year. How long ago
really?
does that feel? Kobe died this year! Yeah!
Now I feel bad that I forgot that.
Doesn't that feel like it was like 4.5 years ago, though?
Yeah,
no,
it does.
That was in 2020.
Huh.
That was in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And somebody posted a newspaper from that day with the plane crash, and the article in the strip was like, first COVID cases detected in the United States. Like, literally that day they were talking about it. So yeah, no, we've been on a cursed voyage this year, and I've done like a bunch of like charity streams and stuff, and that's why I don't think I did anything for GaryCon. I was supposed to go in person, but I don't think. Wait, no, I don't think I did. But I am doing something for Founders and Legends. I'm gonna be DMing a game on day one, but I'll let them announce that when the time comes, because I'm doing. Let me see. I'm doing Keith Amon's thing tomorrow at noon, and then Sunday I'm doing 2 games for the D&D block party. I'm playing in the all Warlock game, and then running my own game this Sunday. That'll be back to back. I think it's 3 to 5 and 5 to 7 Pacific. I think. I legit don't know. I legit don't know. Lauren, please tell me if I just said the wrong things. I'm pretty sure.
Lauren would know. Yeah.
She would. She's going to be there because there's 6 of her. That's the thing. There really has been a simulacrum of you this entire time, Lauren. That's why you can be in all these places.
That's actually something that would not surprise me. Like, one of those things where you walk into a room and you see her and you say hi, and then you turn around and then she's also standing there. And you're like, huh? Like, it wouldn't be surprising. Yeah.
No, it would just be the missing piece of the puzzle. It's like literally all this adds up now. Like I get it.
It's like, that's how you do it. I knew you didn't have time to also be a concert oboist. Like, come on. Somebody who goes by Baby Illy G says that they love your voice acting. It makes them smile every time you do Freely.
Oh, hey, thanks. Because it's just like just trying to do my best. Just show up and make a difference. Yeah. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Look at that. Like, it was like blasting people over there. So great. Like, oh, yeah. Get him. Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. It's great. It's great to get to do. It's all of it's just great to get to do. And also, thank literally everybody that is watching, because you all make it possible. Thank you for playing Idle Champions. Thank you, Idle Champions, for having me on. Thank you, Lauren Urban, for being the guiding principle of the universe, apparently. Like, she is gravitation in and of itself, like the in which we all exist and have our being. It's like, like some belief systems, like the Earth is on the back of a giant turtle. It has literally been on the back of a giant Lauren this entire time. So over here. So, yeah, it's just this. I can tell you without exception, if I woke up tomorrow and the last 3 to 4 dreams have actually been, the last 3 to 4 years have actually been a dream, and it's maybe like mid 2016, and I just like woke up.
You woke up before the election in 2016, and you're like, go vote, everybody, running through the streets, vote.
Yeah. Yep. No, this it would all be in order. Yep. So, which is weird that. Holy crap! Is it? I don't know. I think I just fell through a time tunnel there because I'm thinking about like all the stuff we used to talk about on Ask Your Black Geek Friend, and I'm all like, that's wow. Yeah. So if none of this had happened, I'd be like, no, this all seems legit because it's been such a fun and improbable thing, and I've just been very fortunate. I've rolled some crits at key times, and just got to do some fun stuff. So I'm very blessed, and it's great. It's great. I say as I look at Freely like blasting people over there, which really brings me no endless amount of joy. Although, who's that like big chunky boy, like all the way to that one that just attacked? The one like looks like a big turtle, like the top left.
Oh, so that would be Krull, the Death Domain cleric at Tiamat, dressed up as Krampus.
Ah, got it. Got it. Perfect.
Yeah, because got to have some holiday fun.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yep. Yeah. Happy Krampus, everybody.
Happy Krampus. Yeah, if anybody saw Silver and Steel this week, we got a new chunky friend. We got Chunkers, our big friends. So that's why I had a soft spot in my heart for chunky boys back there. Yeah, it's and I'm excited for the things that are to come, all of the like assorted unannounced things. You know, it's just, and I'll tell you just for in case you're wondering, because a lot of times people ask me this, and maybe someone out there is thinking it about how it is that I get to do this stuff or how you like break into it. It's like, man, just do your thing and tell your stories. Put your stuff out there and be cool because everybody knows everybody. So if you're a jerk, everyone will know and everybody will know quickly. But if you're cool and talented, everybody will know and everybody will know quickly. And it just, opportunities open up. And, you also make your own luck, too. If you are a writer, write. Let people know that you're writing. Put your stuff out there. If you're a DM, and let people know it. And gather your friends and tell your stories. If you can, turn on a camera because it's easy. Put your stream out there. You'll find your tribe. And then, again, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine talking about how luck is a relatively new manufactured concept, but like at the gist of it was the more you work on something, the luckier you'll get with it, or whatever it is.
That is 10,000% true. There's two different quotes that I'm paraphrasing. Both of them is one is the harder I work, the luckier I get, and the other one is Abraham Lincoln, which I'm still paraphrasing, is I will prepare myself continually, and someday my chance will come. And it's true. If you are honing your craft and again being cool to people, I cannot. Because again, I will tell you my exact story. And feel free to interrupt me, Dylan.
No, go for it.
Talk about it. This is exactly what happened for me. So, and I'll tell you the story from the very beginning. So I met Damien Poitier on the set of the first movie I did out here in LA. Which I did because when I first came to LA, I was working as a bodyguard, and a friend of mine was like, "Do you want to come be in this movie because you're gigantic and you're a martial artist?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I met Damien on the set of that movie, and we just hit it off immediately and stayed friends. I introduced Damien to Jason Charles Miller. Back in those days, I still had a day job because my actual discipline is marketing. I have 20 years of marketing experience, and they started doing Foreververse on Geek and Sundry. Because Jason knew Felicia Day because he'd done some music stuff with her. So they started doing Foreververse. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I felt a little left out because I was like, how dare you get, like, nobody's asked me for any, like, you guys know each other because of me, but whatever. Cool. I just put that in my heart box. I was like, all right, I'm going to keep that one. And one day in early 2017, Damien called me and he's like, I've got an idea for a show and we're going to call it Ask Your Black Geek Friend. And it'll just be like a geek social commentary show. He called me on a Wednesday and I was like, yes, I'm in. He called me on Wednesday. We shot the pilot on Saturday. On Monday, they told us they wanted the show, but we didn't go up till August. This is from March to August as we hit every possible delay all along the way. So we're doing the show. It's going well. Satine Phoenix, who I had met and seen around the studio, but didn't know, but I mean, you can't miss Satine, put out her supplement for Chult. And I had gone on record very publicly critical of Chult and its portrayal of Black people. that I was like, it was just tone deaf and lazy. Like it's not offensive. It's just, it's clear to me, like, you guys did not talk to any black people at all. Like, why is it a lazy post-colonialist trope? This is a fantasy world. The black people could live on the moon. Like, what's up with that? And I was very public about that.
Yep. I remember.
Yeah. So Satine's book came out, and on Ask Your Black Geek Friend, I was like, hey, our friend Satine Phoenix has a new book out. Go get it. You know, it's on the DMs Guild. And I clipped that and I sent it to her. And I was like, hey, little signal boost. I hope it helps. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then about a week or two after that, she hit me up because she's like, I'm doing this charity D20 thing in December. We're raising money for Reach Out and Read. Would you like to come and play on the show? And I was like, yeah. Because even though I'd been gaming the whole time, I hadn't done any streaming gaming. I'd only done the talk show content. So I knew I was going to go all in. I was going to dress up. I was going to do the voice. I was going to do the whole 9 yards. And we played Vampire. And that was the night I met Jason Carl. And I just gave it my all. And if you Google it, it's that 2017 Charity 20 Vampire the Masquerade. That game is on the interwebs. I painted my nails black to simulate my gangrel claws and all that. That's when Stu the Gangrel was born. And after that, I just, one gig beget the next gig, beget the next gig. Because when I walked into Geek and Sundry, I knew I was very intentional on exactly what I was trying to accomplish. And I was like, I'm going to make sure everybody knows that I'm reliable, I'm easy to work with. If we have something, I will show up on time and I will do my best 100% of the time. And it sort of worked. And things beget things, and then I got to the point that I could kind of call my own shots and create my own shows, and that's how it got to be where it is. And yeah, that's what happened.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was also thinking about I remember when the Tomb of Annihilation book came out, reading through it, I'm like, well, this is, there are parts of it I really like. I thought the dungeon at the end of it is awesome. It's an awesome dungeon. But I remember just kind of going through the book and being like, deep sigh. And then there was some nice news coverage echoing your feedback. And I was like, yeah, there you go.
But shout out to Wizards in general and Greg Tito in particular for listening and trying to fix it.
Yep.
And, again, it's his birthday. Double shout out to Greg Tito. Because, he reached out and we talked. He reached out and asked me to participate in Stream of Many Eyes in 2018. I literally remember where I was standing when the phone rang with him calling to ask me to do that, which, again, was a dream come true. Getting to go and literally be on the streets of Waterdeep was one of the most insane and surreal things.
Drinking in the Yawning Portal?
Yeah, literally drinking in the Yawning Portal. And being there with all of the people that had just kind of made all this possible. And having note like Ed Greenwood being there and seeing like his notes like hanging on the wall that are 50 years old. Like, I mean, I literally had a drink with Elminster.
Yep.
I had a drink with Elminster. You were like, what?
Yeah, it was pretty wild that he was sitting there just in the Yawning Portal like the whole time. Seemed like,
I mean, imagine how wild that had to be for him. Like, can you imagine? Yeah, and it was that was a grand old time. And then hey, we got to go to Avernus last year, and who knows what Icewind Dale would have been or what next year will be. So. Already looking forward to it.
I feel like it's a little harder to make a snowy landscape in LA than it is to just come up here.
True. I mean, yeah, to make it feel like hell, all they would have had to do was turn off the AC. Yeah.
Ooh. So. Ooh. Yeah, you were in the off the table game that Ivan ran too with Satine and Kate and Mark.
I was Tuco Pomoja. I was the SMR monk. Yep. It was that was fun. What's funny about that, especially having done the reality RPG, which was this year's off the table thing, which Satine and I, returning veterans, in the second puzzle, if you were watching at the reality at the off the table game, during the Waterdeep Dragon heist. We solved the puzzle immediately. Our first guess was the answer because there was like 5 doors or whatever, and we had to like solve all these puzzles to figure out the door. We literally were like, that one. And Ivan was like, well, you should maybe look over there, you know, and we're like, oh, okay. You know? But literally, we were just like, man. And it's like, well, we got to fill up 20 minutes with something, so...
No, I remember because I was in one of the stalls. We had like our like Idle Champions loungy kind of set up, and Clive and I are sitting there, and like all the folks who are working on it had like come by before everything started. They're like, you don't say a word. You're trying to be quiet so the audio is good. And we're like, yeah, of course, that makes sense. They're like, and so they're just basically just shut up and sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting there, and we're like trying not to make noise. And then Mark's like, well, what do you guys think? He just turns and looks at us, and the camera points over. I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, you assholes, you told me I wouldn't have to say anything. I'm like, well, now I don't know what to say.
Here's the thing. They didn't tell us that. If they'd even told us, like, look for the people that have mic packs on or something like meta like that, we would have. They did not tell us that. So we're rolling through Waterdeep, and we're like, here's some dudes. Hey, dudes, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah, and then just the look, I could see the Roll20 booth was just like around the corner. I look over and they're just like wide-eyed, like realizing that like they might talk to us, and they just kind of look at each other and start whispering, which is why they handed you so much stuff when you went over there. Yeah, they're like, take this and take. They're just piling you up. You're like, whoa.
I feel like I knocked the sign off the Roll20 booth. I knocked the sign off of one of them. I think it was Roll20. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that sounds right. It was a grand old time.
Yeah,
but it was fun. The whole thing was a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was a good time.
Because you were wearing like a wizard's robe, like noble garment, right?
I had a really nice like an overcoat that made me look like a wealthy pirate. I think would probably be the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Yeah. I remember.
And then Clive was sitting beside me, looking more like a similar outfit, but like when Clive wears it, he looks more like a priest.
Yeah. What if he's like a priest pirate?
Could be. Yeah.
Still valid. Yeah. Still valid. Again,
that was wild. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the I think it was the Saturday whatever they had tried to line up for the after party fell through. They're like, oh, we'll just drink at the Yawning Portal. We're like, that's better. Why wasn't that the first choice?
Yeah. Yeah. I have so many pictures of just all of us there that night. Just.
Yeah. It was a good time.
It was a good time. More good times lay ahead. More good times lay ahead, friend. More good times lay ahead.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
the
Heroes of the Veil cast did this elaborate cosplay for Avernus. And they were already setting it up, doing it this year before, the apocalypse hit. And I was like, I'm literally twice freely sized. Like, literally. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
How I'm gonna work like we were like, am I gonna put like knee pads on that look like boots, and just like stand like, because I was like, I will, like, let's do it, but yeah,
yeah,
maybe next year,
The I'm ignoring chat. Actually, I just realized.
Sorry, chat.
Yeah, somebody has asked several times if you've ever played a changeling.
Like the game Changeling or a Changeling in D&D?
I think they mean a Changeling in D&D.
No. I haven't played a lot of Eberron races. I'm playing a Warforged right now. Even when I played some Eberron, I played a human. Because Harmatio Forelsket, my first D&D first D&D character in a stream, was a human in Eberron. I has not played a Changeling. I would. Honestly, to tell you the truth, at this point, I've done so many things. Like I said, it's just, what haven't I done? Like, if you're like, hey, we want you to play an agoraphobic kobold with trust issues, I would be like, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like, he's a rogue that doesn't believe in stealing or killing. I'd be like, okay. Like, I'm ready. Let's do it.
You've reached the point in your D&D career where you're like, just roll the dice and I'll do it. Like,
literally, like, you tell me, like, I've required no warning, just like literally slide the sheet over to me, and I'm gonna be like, cool, got it, let's go. I you know what? I'll do my next I already made my character for this thing with Keith on Saturday, which will be the first dwarf I've ever played. Ever. I remember I said I've been doing this for 30 years. My first dwarf ever is this Saturday. And after that, the next thing that I have to do, I'll play a changeling somewhere. So,
or you could play a dwarf and just afterwards be like, "Oh, by the way, I was a changeling the whole time."
McFreely was
totally
a changeling,
cheat.
just turned into pudding all of a sudden, like
yeah, and just disappear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The fake arm just hits the ground, clink clink.
So if somebody told you 20 to 30 years ago that you could work playing D&D, would you have believed them?
Never. I wouldn't have believed it 5 years ago. I mean, this whole thing is 6 years old. I absolutely wouldn't have believed it. The first time somebody referred to me as a professional DM, I was like, no. Well, yeah. Like, I guess so. It was last year at D&D in a Castle, I think, was the first time somebody said that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true. No, not at all. It was the most improbable sequence of events. I mean, it makes sense now, but would I have guessed or foreseen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I'm glad it's happening. Mm-hmm. Obviously.
Yeah. What inspired you to make Freely's hair the way that it is?
There is a picture on Pinterest that I saw that I really liked, that did not belong to me, because as I just started looking for, let me see if I can find it in about, if I can find it in 10 seconds, I'll tell you. Otherwise, no. I just was looking for, I think, halfling sorcerer images. I can't locate it here, but if you Google halfling sorcerer images, there's one, and it is a halfling, and he's standing, he's yelling, and light is coming out of his mouth.
Oh,
and
I know this image.
He's got this bright multicolored hair when he's just doing it, and I was like, dope. And that was my initial inspiration for him. And I just liked red and green, even though it's oddly Christmassy. I just went with it. I liked the idea of him just having his bright red hair with his green streaks, and his Eldritch Blast being red and green and all of that. And that was literally it. And looking as much like me as a halfling could.
I know this image.
Yeah, right.
I know exactly which one it is, but I can't remember. Yeah, I know the one though.
It wasn't too hard to find. And again, I don't own it, or I would put it up behind me right now. But but yeah, that picture was what was the inspiration for Freely. Well, I'd already decided that I was going to play a halfling, of course. But in looking around that picture, I was like, that picture's dope. So much so, some of the earlier versions of his character sheet, that's the picture that is on his character sheet on D&D Beyond, is that image. Yep. And then, but my lucky boy eventually took on a life of his own.
So somebody was asking about what exactly the luck of Yandala is. And I'm wondering if you want to tackle that, because we approached it in our way for the game, but
it is just sort of a thing that we kind of came up with together. Yandala is a goddess of fortune that many halflings worship, and quite frankly, at the risk of being meta, I've leveled Freely up 3 times, and he hasn't gotten to the high levels because he keeps getting rebooted. So this is something that we're going to live into, but I'm glad that it's happened now, because I'm armed that when he grows up, I can either go to Jasmine or wherever Freely's living at the time and be like, canonically, he has this blade, yes? And so we will the Blade of Yandala into existence. But that's what it was. We just wanted to come up with something that was appropriately epic for someone like him. And since I'm constantly rolling level 20, I'm constantly running level 20 stories, I'll make Freely level 20, and I'll give him a Blade of Yandala.
Huh. Okay. A little while ago, somebody in chat asked whether or not all the games you run are in the same setting, or if there are multiple worlds, or is there any overlap between the different campaigns?
There is significant overlap in the sense that, most of them are, the Forgotten Realms. I mean, my Patreon games are non-specifically Planescape Spelljammer-ish. But I mean, now, especially as of tonight, the events of Dungeons and Dragons and Darkened Wish are canonically in the same universe as at least Beyond Heroes. So yeah, and theoretically D4 and Rivals of Waterdeep and all of those shows. So yeah, it's yeah.
That's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, and but again, it's tough in the sense that you're like, now that all of us are playing in the same sandbox, I have to be even like more vigilant about, just kind of being mindful of, what another person is going to do, or what they might want to do with their story and things like that. But I mean, it's still, it's nice to be able to, bounce things off of each other. And, if I feel like destroying Waterdeep, it bees like that sometimes.
You just send a text, by the way, I'm destroying this city tonight.
BT dubs, maybe get your cast out of town. Yep. Yeah. So, but it is great, especially because this is something that like Todd Kenrick has wanted for a long time. We had moved towards doing some sort of like shared crossover universe many times, honestly. And just for whatever reason, it never quite lined up, casting, scheduling, quite frankly, just logistics. And we could never quite do it. So then we just sort of like decided to bite the bullet again and just make it happen. And it started, and it's funny because we have been deciding what to do for a while. And I was like, y'all, my show's coming back. So here's what I'm about to do. And you let me know if I'll adjust on the fly as necessary. But I think you guys are going to be happy with where it goes. It's going to build up though. So you got to be paying attention. This is not one of those things where like, we're going to have some epic crossover event in a month and a half. Like it's going to build up and get to where it's going. But I think you're going to like the end result.
Cool. It's we usually start wrapping up around 5 to 3, which is to say like a couple minutes from now. So are there any shout outs or anything you want to do before we start to wrap things up?
There is one very important one that I would like to make, which is remember, just because it stops trending on your socials, Black Lives Matter. This is our life. It will always be our life. Just because you stop hearing about the struggle doesn't mean the struggle isn't happening. So please keep that in mind. Also, Dungeons and Dragons and Darkened Wish comes back tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/D&D. Again, Todd Kenrick will be there playing Averin, a tremendous scoundrel. And obviously, there will be no negative repercussions whatsoever to this in any of the events that get set in motion, and what it means for our fair heroes. Saturday, again, doing Keith's project, which I do not know the URL at all, so follow me on the Twitters, and I will be posting about it. That's at noon Pacific. Sunday, D&D Block Party, where Lauren Urban will be debuting, maybe not debuting, but playing a level 20 version of Orkira Eldrix.
Oh.
Yes, and I will be on the other side of the table for that. With only 2 hours, it will be chaos and insanity. We also have our Warlock Block Party, where I will be bringing Freely over with all of the other Warlocks, or many of the other Warlocks from some of the other streams. We don't have a one-on-one shot this Sunday, but I can announce next Sunday, like, not 3 days, 10 days. What is it? Sunday, 3 days? Time has become a flat circle for me now.
Thursday today?
Not
Friday,
the
Saturday,
Sunday that's about to happen. The one after that.
10 days. It's 10 days, but not a 10 day from now.
Yes. Brendan Lee Mulligan will be joining me on 1-in-1 shots. And we are still deciding if we're going to play D&D or Vampire, to tell you the truth. And again, patreon.com/BDaveWalters if you want to play D&D, Vampire, Werewolf, Battlelords, and we have 24/7 worldwide Discord play. But more importantly than anything, again, if you're thinking about doing this, do it. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Write your stories, tell your stories, get your friends together, turn on a camera, have some fun.
Mm-hmm. Well said. All well said. This has been our show for Thursday, June 25th, the never-ending century that is 2020. Thank you for joining us today and for participating in both the Idle Champions and Dungeons & Dragons communities. You guys are all awesome. Shout out and thank you to B. Dave Walters for joining me today. It's really wonderful to have you here. This show exists because of a number of amazing people behind the scenes, including our co-producer / moderator, Jay, as well as our partners at Dungeons & Dragons, Bart, Pelham, Allison Schalling, Lisa, and the birthday boy himself, Greg Tito. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow for Griddle Champions. Unlock freely now. Have a great weekend.
He's the best boy, the luckiest boy.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody. Have a good one.